Hi everybody, we are on to assignment 4, and assignment 4 has 3 parts. So I'm going to talk about the first part today. And the first part is scaling and proportion. So as we learned from the couple of slides we looked at, we can change scale but keep proportion the same, and that's what we're going to do today. So the instructions have measurements for you, and essentially you're building a baseline and then 2 bounding boxes. The first bounding box, the small one, will be 60 by 100 millimeters. And this approximates the golden section. And there's videos about the golden section and the Fibonacci sequence in the assignment instruction. What you're going to do then is build the original box, which is 60 by 100 millimeters, and then you're also going to be building one that is twice its size. The instructions give you where you should put the midpoints of those boxes. What you'll do then is use those remnants that we've been saving from the other assignments, and you'll use these as a way to create a new composition that will fit within this small bounding box. So I want you to play around a little bit and see what you can come up with your knowledge of composition. And twist shapes around, flip them over, figure out some things. So I'm deciding that I'll compose on the rule of thirds on something like this. And so what I would do would be to compose what I want within the box, and then I would cut off what is not in the box, so that I would be left with a shape that fits within that original bounding box. Like this. Once I've got that shape, I've got all the pieces glued together, so I've got this solid black piece shape. Once I've got everything glued together, then I would trace it within the box. And I could trace it a little bit roughly at first, and then come back in with my ruler and clean everything up and perfect it. And I'm always keeping in mind what the assignment instructions state, which is to imagine that we are building a monumental sculpture and we're needing to provide the client with elevations and scales of the sculpture. So let's say I've got this object now put in the box, and I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, make sure all my lines are straight. So something like this. And what I've done is I've marked down here, this is the 100% version, so this is my original. Then on this other box, I've marked down here 200%. This is the size I'm going to scale this up to. And what we have to do, if you'll remember from high school, plotting points. So that's what we're doing. We're going to plot points in order to transfer this drawing over into this box. And so what I mean by that is we'll use a ruler, and I suggest using all metric. And I'll do things like this. I'll find where this point is, this event. Like right there, there's an event. And right over here is an event where a line hits the side. I'll make little dots everywhere that the lines hit the side. There. There's a little event right here where this straight line hits this arc. So I'll put a dot right there. And I'll put a dot where this corner is there. One there. So you can see I've got dots everywhere that I'm going to need to transfer over. And the easiest thing is to do those dots that are on the sides first. So I measure in from the closest edge, and I can see that this dot right here is 1 centimeter in. And so I take that times 2 in order to blow it up to the next size. And I know that 2 times 1 centimeter is 2 centimeters. So I'll put that 2 centimeters in from that side, and I'll put a dot right there. I'll go on to the next one, and it happens to be 2 centimeters in. And so I'll take that times 2, and on this side, I'll come in 4 centimeters. Now, I've got a dot right here, which is the corner that comes down from this corner. So I'll measure that, and that's 1 centimeter. So I take 1 centimeter times 2, and I come down from the same place on this side, and I make a dot. And then I can look over here, and I see that on this one, those 2 dots made up this angle right there. So I can go ahead and connect these dots to make this angle on this large version. So I'll go around and I'll do the same thing for all of these other dots. Now, when you get to a dot that is in the middle, not on one of these edges, that's where we need to plot X and Y points. So I know that this was a straight line down from this dot up at the top, but I'll measure it anyhow using metric, and it's still 2 centimeters in. So I know that that dot has an X coordinate of 2, and I need to measure down then from the top to see how far down it goes. And it's about 5.5. So that my Y coordinate is like this. So I've got 2 coordinates. I've got an X and a Y. So you may have to refresh your memory from high school about plotting X and Y coordinates. That's 2 over and 5.5 down, and so I need to take those measurements by 2 to get to 200%, and so that would be 4 by 10. So I need to come in 4, and I'll make a little bit of a line so I know where it's going to hit on here, and then I'm going to come down 10. I'll erase that over mark like that. And then I know that this line comes down. I'll check my work again. No, 2 times 5.5 is 11. So it's good that I looked on here and saw that this point that I made was not as far down relatively as it was over on the original design. So just by checking what you're doing, you can see if something doesn't look quite right. So I'm gonna connect these dots, and now I've got the same line here as I did over here. I'll go around and I'll do the same thing. So I have to get X and Y coordinates for this right here. And I have to get them as well for this point right here. Now, the big challenge, you are to have an arc less than half a circle in your composition. And the reason for this is I want you to figure out how to plot that point in order to put down the point of your compass to make the proper arc over here. So let's imagine that I've got this arc and I'm doing this operation on that arc, but I'm going to do it a little larger so you can see. So I'll just say I've got, this is all the information I have. I don't have this center point let's just say this is all the information I have is an arc. We need to find the center point of this arc in order to figure out where the center point goes in order to make this same arc on the large version. And this is what you do. This is a pretty cool geometric operation. You put the point of the compass down anywhere you want on the arc, and you draw a circle. Just like that. Then over to the side of that circle, any size circle will do. We'll do another circle, but they have to intersect each other. So like this. You do a whole circle or an arc, whatever. These are the 2 points that are important right here. Where those two intersected. You can see those points right here and right here. And I need to do a third circle or arc on the other side of that original. And I need to make sure it will overlap the original. And that'll make those 2 dots where they overlap. So you see I've got 2 dots over here and 2 dots over there. I can then take a ruler and connect those dots and draw them out. Connect these dots and draw them out. And that will give me where the center point for this circle is. Where the center point that made this arc happens. So let's just say that it makes on this original design, that makes my center point, somewhere like right here. I need to plot the X and Y coordinates of that center point, just like we did for this. And I figure out how far over it goes. Let's say it's 3, so that's my X coordinate. And then how far down it goes, which is 3.5. So I've got my XY coordinates, 3.5. I need to double those, so that's 6 and 7. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3.5 is 7. And I'll do that operation over here. I'll come over 6, mark, and I come down 7, and there I find where the center point of the arc should be. And then all I need to do, right here, is connect that center point right there with the bottom of this line here. Then I can make my arc like such. It was about 7, so I can come over about 14. Connect those dots. And so you can see what's starting to happen here. I'm getting this arc and this angle happening over on this larger version. You'll keep going on this and make this larger. Now, if that center point for your arc happened to fall outside this original bounding box. So let's say that on this giant one we were doing, I had a bounding box that was something like this. And that center point happened outside the bounding box. That's fine. all I need to do is go from that box edge over, so it's 1 there, and then I go from where the box top is down, so that's 3. And I would multiply everything, and then I would do it from this box edge out and down. So you're just plotting points in the same way. They just don't happen to be within the box. They might be happening outside of the box. That's fine. So I know that this assignment can be complex. Some people, it snaps right away. It clicks. If you need to write to me, definitely write to me. Again, this is the first part of assignment 4. We'll move on to plan view and further elevations in the next part of the assignment. As always, questions to me in the discussion area for the assignment, and I will see you next time.